Hi friends, how are you? My name is Bethany. I make videos about motherhood, foster care, mental health, and my journey to wellness. And today we're going to talk about my wedding. So this week was my wedding anniversary. On January 17th, 2009, I got married. And a lot of people will think, aren't you divorced? Why do you care about your wedding anniversary? Because I do. Because my wedding was a big event. And I don't necessarily celebrate it, but I do remember it, and it's something that I think about when that day rolls around every year. So that's what it is. I got married in the winter on purpose in the Midwest for the sole purpose that I wanted to have a cape and I wanted to carry a muff. Samantha, the American Girl doll, had a cape and a muff, and ever since I was a little girl, that was the goal. That was almost more important to me than my dress. Was, okay, the dress can be whatever, but I'm getting the cape, right? Like, we're getting the cape, we're getting the muff. So that's what I did. I still have the cape and the muff too. I think I actually have it at this house. My wedding dress is in storage at my mom's house because I got it preserved, but I think the cape and the muff might be here. I'll have to look. If it's true, then, I'm going to go put that on. So this comes up a lot. Like, why do you care about your wedding? It doesn't come up a lot, but people ask me because I often will post a picture of myself on my wedding day. Not with the person I married, but typically just of me in my dress, because it was a big event, and there are a lot of gorgeous pictures of me and my family. It was the last time that my grandmother came to visit us here, because she passed away 2 years after my wedding, right when I announced that I was getting a divorce. Grandma died right after that. It didn't kill her, I promise. I think she was in support of it, honestly. So my wedding, it was an interesting thing to plan. I didn't have a lot of ideas of what I wanted growing up. I hadn't always dreamt about my wedding. I didn't have all these ideas. I didn't, other than the cape and the muff, I really didn't have a whole lot that I knew that I wanted. A lot of folks in my family had gotten married, like my older brother and my cousins that were of that age. They had gotten married first, so there was sort of the standard of this is what weddings in our family look like. So I was kind of following off of that. I knew I was going to get married in the church where we were attending at that time. One of the things that I do think was a bummer was that there wasn't a center aisle for me to walk down. There were two side aisles, so I walked down the side aisle, which I didn't love, but also, in retrospect, who cares? But yes, so I did almost exclusively all of the planning just with my mom. The person that I was getting married to first of all, he didn't get a whole lot of say in the matter, and he wasn't not invested in it. It was his second wedding, and so he didn't want to be too extravagant, but also I was like, well, I'm planning on this only being my only wedding. Anyway, there were a lot of foreshadowing things now that I think about it. Oh, if you thought that this video was going to be me slamming on the person I married, no. I married that person, and out of respect for him and for his family, I'm not going to say negative things about him. I'm just not going to. That's mean. And there's no point. Like, we ended so long ago. My wedding was 13 years ago, for goodness sakes. The divorce was 11 years ago. Like, come on, I'm over it. But I will talk about my wedding because it's cute. So, I wanted to get married in the evening, and then, because I thought that would be classy, I wanted a winter wedding so that I could have I wanted my bridesmaids to wear long dresses. They ended up wearing silver and gray, which was nice. I liked that. And long dresses was what I wanted them to have. And my dress had little pink flowers on it because pink is my favorite color. My flowers were probably my favorite part. I carried a bouquet of Stargazer lilies, which, fun fact, I have a Stargazer lily tramp stamp tattoo. Jackie. But we were all younger, slimmer, and dumber then. But yes, so that's my favorite flower. That was what I carried for my bouquet. It was great. So I did a lot of the planning with my mom, which was a lot of fun. We spent a lot of time together. Also, wedding planning, it's kind of a hurry up and wait. You make all of these decisions right at the beginning. You buy your dress, you book your venue, you arrange who your florist is going to be, you pick your cake, and then you wait forever and ever. And then you do all of that stuff again right before you're ready. So some of the fun things that we did was I made my own invitations. I got one of those kits, I think it's from Michael's or something like that, and I printed all of my invitations. They're very pretty. My favorite part was the cake. So we didn't go to a big cake bakery. We went to a couple of them and looked around, but they're very expensive, and nobody really looks at wedding cakes for that long anymore. You take pictures of them, but now most of the time you do your cake cutting right when you get there. So we got our cake made at the grocery store. There was a grocery store in town that made cakes and they were delicious. And I really liked it because it was a 3-tier cake, but in between 2 of the levels, and I'll see if I can put in a picture of what the cake looked like, there was sand art. I wanted to do a sand art ceremony. The person I married said absolutely not, but I wanted to do one. So I did a sand art ceremony at home myself, and I put it into a little vase, and that sat in between the layers of the cake. So I thought that was cute. In retrospect, it wasn't a great idea because it ended up weighing a ton and then weighed down the cake. So the cake person had a hard time getting the cake not to collapse because my sand art was very heavy. And I did end up keeping it. I think I threw it away eventually, but I kept that for a long time on my shelf. So lovely. That was a yummy thing. And the cake was actually super delicious. I remember after the ceremony and after the reception, everybody went to the bar and I was just eating cake because I was starving at that point because you don't really eat a whole lot on your wedding day. So that was fun. It was nice. Like, it was just nice, and it was lovely to be there with my mom and to feel like we had a lot of fun doing all of the planning. She was excited. So yeah, it was nice. I will say that I had myself a full-on tantrum about my rehearsal dinner. I have some perspective now looking back on it. I was being very snobby. I was being a brat. I just wanted something for appearances. It didn't make sense. What I wanted would have been stupid. So my rehearsal dinner, it was held at Jupiter's here in town, which is a pizza place. They make like popular, trendy flatbread pizzas and, and all the like fun flavors and stuff like that. They also have a bar area. They have several private rooms and they have an arcade. So that was where my rehearsal dinner was. And my rehearsal dinner, it was put on by the person I married's parents. And at the time I was so embarrassed because the rehearsal dinner invitations that went out said, "You're invited for pizza and soft drinks." And I thought that was so embarrassing. Like, I realize now that I was just being snobby and bratty and like a jerk about it. I don't know what I wanted them to say. I guess the fact, I was so hung up on the fact that it said pizza and soft drinks. Like, to me, that reminded me of a little kid birthday party, but it was fine. So his parents don't drink. I don't know what they are now, but at the time they were extremely religious. They didn't drink. They didn't want to have an open bar. It was okay. My dad paid for the open bar. It was fine. People were still drinking. It was okay. And so I don't know if I just like was basing it off of my older brother's rehearsal dinner, which was at a very fancy restaurant. But that wouldn't have made sense because the 2 sides of the family, the folks that were at this rehearsal dinner, they didn't really know each other. They'd met a couple of times, but they weren't. If we would have been at a fancy dinner, it would have been so awkward. It would have been like his side of the family just sitting there, my side of the family just sitting there eating. Whereas having it at Jupiter's was great because people could get up. We could like go do all of the arcade stuff. Like we had a whole bunch of tokens, and so it was more fun. It was something to do, and that wasn't so uptight. So in retrospect, it was great. It was a better idea than having another stuffy dinner because we had tried those and they never worked. So I full on acknowledge that I was just being a brat about my rehearsal dinner invitations. It was fine, and no one cared. No one other than me cared. So that was that. But yeah, so let's see. I'm trying to think what else with my wedding. I had a meltdown about my hair. So they tell you when you do all these updos to not wash your hair the day of your wedding. Of course, I wake up and I'm like, my hair's so dirty and greasy. It was not. It looked fine. The one thing that did annoy me and annoys me to this day when I see the pictures is I had an updo, right? And I've been rocking the side part since the 90s. I'm going to keep rocking it forever. But the side part, it was not straight. There was a part of it this way, and then there was a little jag. So it looked crazy. Like, it drives me nuts to this day when I see the pictures that my part was not straight. Why wasn't it? There was no reason for it not to be straight. Another thing, I was wearing so much makeup. They get crazy with bridal makeup. And the woman that I went in for a test run of my hair and in the test run, she got my part straight. The test run of my makeup. I remember coming out of the test run of my makeup thinking, I have so much makeup on. And granted, I wore a lot of makeup back then. I don't wear as much now anymore. Like, you know what I've got on right now? Mascara. But I had so much blush. So like, a lot of makeup and a lot of sparkle. A lot of sparkle was going on. I think she turned Heather, my brother's wife, into a different color with her blush and sparkle. Like, it was a lot. So bridal hair and makeup is just, but people just like, it was a lot. But it was, it was fine. Yeah. What else can I tell you about my wedding? We had, the reception was at the Hilton Garden Hotel. And at the time that was a new hotel. And so it was very nice. I liked it. We had the whole downstairs ballroom. It was gorgeous. I had chair covers, which I really wanted. My cousin Philip did all of my decorations, which was fantastic. So at the time, that's what he did in Florida. He had his own business where he decorated that. So it was gorgeous. I really loved that I had charger plates. So, because my wedding colors were silver and pink. I had gorgeous hot pink roses. It just looked stunning. But one of my favorite things about the wedding was my brother's wedding gifts to me. So my older brother, Benjamin, I didn't know this at the time. Like, I had no idea what was going on. So when I walked in to my wedding reception, that's when I saw my gift from my older brother. So Benjamin and we have a thing where we have a thing for foam fingers. So I can't remember where this originated. I think it was probably from when Benjamin and I used to go and cheer for my younger brother Michael in his basketball games. We would get foam fingers. We would be so extravagant and crazy, probably because Michael's basketball team would lose by 50 points every time. But we would get like really excited, and so we would have foam fingers and clapper sticks and signs and all of this stuff. So Benjamin and I love a foam finger moment. When I was in culinary school and Benjamin would come and eat dinner at the fancy restaurant, where there was a big window you could see into the kitchen, he made a little foam finger and like held it up for his meal. So when I walk into my wedding reception, they call it, I see everyone has foam fingers. So Benjamin has made giant foam fingers. Like, he got foam and he made foam fingers for every one of the guests. So like 100 foam fingers, everybody had one. And they had different designs that he had spray painted on them. He had spray painted like a wedding bell. He spray painted a heart. Like, he had spray painted them with like the last initial of the person I married. So it was so cute. And I was so surprised because I didn't know that he was going to do anything like that. And it was just really exciting. So then, of course, as the evening progressed, people get a little excited. They got their giant foam fingers as dance props. So it was just really sweet and heartfelt. Like, I think that the person that I married, when my brother went around to tell everyone, so my cousin Philip had done a fabulous job of decorating the tables, right? They look exquisite. And then Benjamin rolls in, it's like, we gotta put the foam fingers out. And Philip's like, what? But it ended up looking really cute. So then Benjamin goes around as like the hype person's like, okay, when they walk in, get your foam finger up. So that was really special. Because we didn't do like throwing of when I left the church, I didn't want people to throw birdseed at me because my cousin Heidi told me birdseed hurts and it gets everywhere. You can't throw rice anymore because it kills the birds. And also, I didn't want to do bubbles, number one, because it was going to be cold. We didn't have a big exit. And also that feels like spit when bubbles hit you. So instead we had this big like foam finger thing. I wanted to do sparklers, but also people would have lit themselves on fire. So no sparklers. But yeah, so my younger brother, he gave a speech or a toast, not really a speech. And I remember he said, congratulations to, he talked about how he and I were super close growing up. And how I always he even mentioned like the basketball games when I would go crazy about him. And he said, congratulations, person that I married. Now my biggest fan is your biggest fan. And I think I cried. So anyway, so it was a lot of fun. My grandma was there. She was 89. She was busted on a move. Was she 89? No, she was 89 when she died. She would have been 87. Because that's how math works. Yeah, so it was fun. So it is a day that I remember. I don't have any ill feelings about my wedding. There are things, even on my wedding day, were there indications that this was not going to end well? Yes. Did I ignore them? Yes. Duh. So yeah, it was great. It was lovely. And I remember that day as this is the day that I got married. Or what I typically say, not the day that I got married, this was the day of my wedding. I know a lot of folks say that you should focus on planning your marriage, not your wedding. Yes, probably. But my wedding is what I remember. So yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I will put up some pictures so you can take a look at what I look like. I used to, so the 10-year challenge it's been around for a while, but 3 years ago when it turned 2020, that's when people really got into posting it, and that happened to be the 10-year anniversary of my wedding. So me being me, I put on my veil and I put on my wedding ring, and I took a picture and I posted it next to the one from my wedding day. So I'll put that up because that's really funny. And somebody was like, you've won the 10-year challenge, like you won it. So yeah, it's my wedding, like I choose to remember it as a happy occasion where I was with my family, I was with my friends, I was with people I cared about. Now, do I celebrate my divorce anniversary? Yes and no. So maybe that'll be another discussion, my actual thoughts on my divorce and that process and what it took for me to get to that point, and then also kind of recover from that. But at this point, yeah, this was the anniversary of my wedding, and it was a great day, and I enjoyed it. And, it was fine. So, all right. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you later. Bye.